Welcome back, Retro Gamers, to video 4 in the playthrough series for Destiny of an Emperor. We're going to call this one Dong Zhuo 2, and we've encountered 2 of Dong Zhuo's minions and have been able to defeat them, but still no sign of Dong Zhuo. We've come back to Zhuo Castle to rekit. We've armed all of our generals with the leather armor, second generation armor. And we're hoping that that's going to be a help along with the elixirs that we have purchased in this next foray. And you may remember in the last video, as we were going through all of the fortresses, that we came across a little side trip to the north, a path that we didn't follow. And I mentioned to you that we'd be coming back to that. It's actually a very important part of the game, and it enters into one of the top 10 tricks videos that I've created. You may have already watched. But these tricks in particular, some of them take a lot of back and forth and loose ends to be tied up. And this particular one is our method of getting Lu Bu away from Dong Zhuo and into our battle group. We're going to let this Qing Wanji go. He's not any stronger than any of our other generals. And just because the place that we're going next is going to be quite a trial, we're going to refresh ourselves at the end here in Fan Shui Guan. Just to make sure we're up to full speed. And we are heading for what is known as the Gold Key Cave. Now, I mentioned this is part of one of the top 10 tricks. The game does not mention a Gold Key Cave. That is to say, none of the characters that you talk to say anything about it, but you are going to need the key from the Gold Key Cave in order ultimately to get Lu Bu onto your side. So this is kind of actually a 3-cushion shot if you play billiards. In order to get Lu Bu onto your side, you need the gold key to get into the lockbox that holds the gem sword, which will persuade Lu Bu to join you. Of course, once you've got the gold key, you've got to find the lockbox as well. And the game doesn't tell you where it is. You've just got to luck out. And if you haven't seen my top 10 tricks videos, or if you haven't gone through this playthrough with me, you may run into that lockbox and realize that you don't have the key. You're going to have to come back to this cave to get the key. If that all is clear as mud, as I said, it's a 3-cushion shot, and the game is, I think, intentionally deceptive as to revealing all of the moving parts that it takes to get Lu Bu onto your side of the battle. So here we are in the Gold Key Cave. Now remember, we got into a cave when we were going to the back door of Qingzhou Castle. And hang on here. Let's take a look at these 2 generals because they look a little bit powerful. Now, we've already fought Wan Zhong, you may recall, with a strength rating of 162. Zhang Ji is the less strong. And because we're going to be fighting a lot of battles probably in this cave, we're going to go ahead and start with some battle math. And since Hua Zhang is the stronger and has the greater number of soldiers, we're going to attack him first. And we're just going to gang up on him. We're not going to use any tactics right now. We're going to keep those tactics in our hip pocket because there may well be some even stronger generals in our near future. You notice both of these generals are taking big bites out of our battle group. And it looks like it's going to take us one more round to take down Huazhong, down below 100. So we're going to do about half of our generals against Huazhong and hope that they are strong enough to carry the day. We'll send our other two generals against Shangji and start whittling him down during this battle round instead of the next. Now, we're in a little bit of a pickle here because Yang Jin has been taken down below 100 soldiers, and we're right in the middle of the battle. Normally, we'd like to wait to the end of the battle to use our elixirs, but in this particular case, we're going to let Yang Jin use one of his elixirs. So to use that, you go to the item command, you select an elixir, and then you point at the general to whom you want to administer that elixir. We're going to let Yang Jin administer the elixir to himself. And then the rest of our armies are going to be battling against Shangji. Now you notice that there we've got a Zhang Ji and we've got a Zhang Fei. And you'll notice also there that when Yang Jin took that elixir, he went up 100 soldiers. So the elixir A is good for up to 100 soldiers. And we've topped Yang Jin off enough that hopefully he'll retain his striking power for a while. We're looking at Zhang Fei, and he's getting down dangerously close to that 100 soldier mark. So we've taken both of these generals down below 100. They are still cranking out more casualties against us than the rebel forces with them. So we're going to see if we can expunge these two generals before we do anything else. I think Lu Feng is strong enough to take Zhang Ji out by himself, and then we'll gang up on Huazhong with the rest of our generals. Notice that Zhang Fei is down below 100, but we're going to let him finish out this battle round before we do anything about that. And as a matter of fact, since we've got both of these generals off the board now, let's go ahead and just bring each one of these rebel forces down below 100. And then we'll worry about topping up Zhang Fei afterwards. Let's see. We spread our forces and hope that we've computed well enough to take all three of the rebel forces down below 100, and we were successful in that effort. And this way now we can just do an all-out against the three of them. Rout all three, rather than taking a battle round from one of our generals to administer that elixir to Zhang Fei, let's take a look now and see what we need to do. But first, we've captured Huazhong, and we know how strong he is. He could be a good addition to our group, so let's see if we can convert him. An especially good horse. Now, we've got Chi-Tu Ma, but Chi-Tu Ma is not what the game means when it says an especially good horse. Strange as it seems, a little bit of a contradiction. But we don't have an especially good horse right now, so we're going to have to decline that offer. And we'll talk about steeds a little bit later on in the game. So we were not able to get Huazhong on our side, but let's look at our overall battle profile and take a look. Now, you see that Yan Jing is more than 100 soldiers down below his top level, and Zhang Fei is also, as is Ho Hu. So we could, and probably will right now, use 3 of our elixirs to bring those 3 generals back up to higher form. And I like to do this over the course of the game. Keep them topped up. We'll let Ho Hu administer to himself. We'll let Yang Jing administer to himself. And we've still got to bring Zhang Fei up to speed. So we're going to let Ho Hu use one of his elixirs to help Zhang Fei also. All right, so take a look. Lu Feng is down about 80 soldiers. Yang Jin is only down now, looks like 18 soldiers. Zhang Fei is down 35. Guan Yu down 20 some odd. Ho Hu is very close. So this is the way we like to use our elixirs, is to bring our generals up within 100 points of their top capacity. And that preserves their striking power. You know, we've said that once a general gets down below 100, their striking power is diminished. Sometimes it's diminished a little bit, even though they may remain up above 100. So throw a little bit of randomness in there for you. And now we are going to gang up on some of these bandit forces and do some battle math, because we want to preserve ourselves and minimize our casualties as we're going through the Gold Key Cave. Spend a little bit of extra time and conserve some of our casualties. Because in the Gold Key Cave, we do not know how many generals, how many opposition forces we're going to actually run into. And we're going to be traveling through this cave for quite a while. Here again, I might re-emphasize the good idea and the need for a really good gaming aid that will get you some diagrams of these tunnels and mazes, because otherwise you'd be wandering around for quite a while, and the more you wander, the more of these random armies you're going to run into and have to fight. And we've just advanced another skill level. And Ho Hu has learned a new fire tactic, a 2nd generation fire tactic, so that may be good for us later on. We take another look and make sure that all our generals are within 100 soldiers of their top capacity. And then we keep moving down the maze. Take a look at Zhuo. 9117. So he's got the Frankenstein helmet. He's going to use some tactics against us. And we are going to go ahead and battle math him, gang up on him, and take him off the board as quickly as we can. So Gold Key Cave is one of the locations where you'll want to use a lot of patience, and rather than just going for all out, unless you are better equipped than we are right now. If you have significantly greater number of elixirs, then you might feel free to do a few more all-outs. But we only have a limited number, and we're not sure they're going to last us all the way through. So Now, you may have noticed during these battles, I can't remember whether I mentioned it, but if you rout one of the soldiers one of the armies that you have targeted, your leftover strikes don't get wasted. They just proceed on down to the next lowest general or the next lowest battle group. So you notice when we wiped out Zhuo, we had targeted him with 2 generals. The first general wiped him out. The second general went down to the top rebel force to get rid of him. And we've still got a ways to go in this maze to get to our objective. To get to our first objective, there are actually 3 objectives in this cave. It's called the Gold Key Cave, but there are other things that we want out of the cave. So we just keep going. Every once in a while, we check on our generals to see if they need topping up with one of the elixirs. And you notice Lu Feng now is down more than 100 below his full complement, so he needs an elixir right now. The other generals are okay at the moment, so we'll let Lu Feng doesn't have any elixirs. I forgot that. Yang Jin will use one of his to top Lu Feng up. Okay, well, this is going to take a little bit of extra battle math. Oftentimes, Zhang Fei and Guan Yu together can inflict more than 80 casualties on a group. Unless, of course, like this one, Guan Yu was repelled. Zhang Fei got an extra strike. So net, we were able to succeed in taking 2 of those bandit forces down below 100. Notice they're only inflicting 1 or 2 casualties when they are down below 100. So we'll take this last one down below 100 as well. And then we'll just, oh, good, we took one of them completely off the board. We routed one of the 3 bandit forces. We'll just finish up the battle here. Amassing more gold coins along the way. Just another quick safety check, and you notice Zhang Fei is down just under 100, below his full capacity. So let's feed him an elixir. And you notice that we're going through our elixirs pretty quickly, and I think we've only got 3 left, 2 or 3 left. Fortunately, we have arrived at our first objective. And we step over the treasure chest and do the check, and we find the gold key. And we're going to take that gold key and pass it down to Ho Hu. And now we've got more fighting to do. And the rebel forces pack a little bit more wallop than those other random fighters. So we're a little more careful to take them down below that level. And we weren't quite as successful as we thought we'd be. And you see that rebel force above 100 takes 7 casualties. So let's just do one more round of battle math. And an added benefit, we take him off the board. So now we've only got 2 rebel forces to fight against. And that worked out well. Now, we've got to make our way back through the maze all the way nearly to nearly to the exit. Just trying to do my computations here. And we were only able to take 2 of those bandit forces down below the 100. So let's do a little bit of computation. Lu Feng should be able to take this one. Yang Ji can take this one. And then Zhang Fei Guan Yu and Ho Hu should not have any trouble taking that one down. Let's see how close we came to our figures. Looks like we were successful all the way through. So now let's just go ahead and do all out. With our low number of elixirs, I probably should still go battle math and just whittle a couple of these completely off the board. But in the interest of time, and the fact that I'm getting just a little bit impatient, I'm going to do the all out. And let's take a look at our staffing levels here, and it looks like we're in very good shape. Guan Yu is getting down fairly low, but he's still good, so let's keep going. And I'm just running quick computations here, and some of these rebel forces I'll be able to take down below 100, and some of them I won't. Not a very good result. Just a little shy in my computations. And of course that's because of the randomness of the number of casualties, but let's see how we want to do this. We want to gang up on this guy here. He's got more than anybody else. Meanwhile, we'll let Yang Jin take that one. And Ho Hu take this low-hanging fruit here. Now, there's always a danger that one of our generals, like Ho Hu, will be repulsed, but no, we were successful. Let's go ahead and take them all off the board and keep trudging through the maze, keep fighting our way through, keep checking on our generals. Let's see. Still all in good shape, so we keep going. And part of the reason that our generals have been so durable is because we were able to purchase leather armor for each one of them. And it's partially, of course, because we are taking the time to do these little battle math targeting sequences rather than doing the all out. And that has minimized our casualty count significantly. It's also partially because, and I'll jinx myself here, it's partially because we haven't run into any really strong generals along the way. I think we just had that first group that we ran into, and that's been the only one. So that's been a little bit of luck. And this will be a little bit of luck if we can be successful in taking all 4 of these rebel forces down. Yep. Just missed on that last rebel force. This is definitely a place where you want to exercise some patience, because if you're in the middle of the tunnel and you run out of options, it can be a bad place to run into a very powerful group of warlords and not have enough resources to overcome them. Okay, doing another level check here. Lu Feng is getting close. Yang Jin, the others look like they're doing well. Guan Yu's starting to get close, but we're still keeping our heads above water. And here we go with Wan Zhong again. And he takes a 35 count bite out of our forces. And I'm making a decision here. I wanted to keep all of our tactics in my hip pocket for a while, because that Qi Jin restorative is great if you run out of elixirs. And there's also the possibility that we will run into a bigger force than this one. But I'm going to at least use one fire tactic and see if that will help minimize the casualties, because Huazhong is going to cost us the rest of our elixirs, I think. And that was a good selection. We were able to get Huazhong down to the point where we can do one battle round, I think, and get him down to his minimal striking abilities. Success. Okay, now we've still got bunches of fighting to do here, and you can see Yan Jing is getting down to the nub. Actually, this is a place where we can do some battle math and pick some of that, not completely low-hanging fruit, but lower-hanging fruit at least. Now, I may have split my forces more than I should have, but let's see whether we get the success or not. Oh man, our two most powerful generals got repulsed. So that was kind of a revolt in development. We know Lu Feng is able to take that guy out. And then we're just going to double up all of our generals. Even if one or two of them get repulsed, we'll still be able to take Huazhong off the board and probably drop that rebel force down below 100. So that was a successful tactic. The bad news here is that we are going to be all out of elixirs at the end of this thing, and still with some distance to go in the Gold Key Cave. And let's see if we can convert Huazhong. And he's not going to come with us. He asked us for a horse. We wouldn't give it to him. Now he's mad at us. Okay, Lu Feng is down low. Yang Jin is low. And let's see. And Ho Hu is low. So at this juncture, I am going to take some judgment. And I'm going to use Yang Jin's last elixir for Lu Feng. And I'm going to leave Yang Jin right where he is. He's getting low, but I don't care about him as much as I do my other generals. And one of the reasons I don't is, oh, youch. Okay, this is going to call for some real fighting. because Kai Yong is a very highly intelligent warlord. Fan Chu has got the power. Kai Yong has got the tactics, and we are in kind of a weak position. So we're going to start using some of our tactics. And we were just close to where we wouldn't have to worry anymore about Yang Jin. And I may not worry about him anyway. And you'll find out why here in just a couple of minutes. It looks like Yang Jin may not be long for this world. If Kai Yang attacks him again, actually if either one of them attacks him again, he's going to be toast. Okay, Kai Yang hasn't been using many tactics, so I'm going to hope that that continues, and I'm just going to take him down. But he did get a very strong extra boost there. And so we are a little bit on the ropes here, down at the lower end of our resources. All right. Just going to double up on Kai Yang and expect that our spillover will go down and take Fan Cho down below 100. And sure enough, Yang Jin has been routed. And we'll be talking about that in some detail after we've finished the battle here. Okay, and even though we've gotten rid of the big warlords now, I'm going to use a restorative tactic. Wait, let's take this low-hanging fruit first. And we are going to restore Zhang Fei up above 100. And we're going to restore Guan Yu up above 100. And you notice we're getting low on tactical points as well. So we've used up a lot of our resources at this point. And we've lost one of our fighting generals. Let's go ahead and do the all out here. Now, the only thing you can do when you've lost one of your fighting generals, when they've gone down to 0, is, well, take a look at your battle group now. If we run into another group to fight at this point, Yang Jin is obviously not going to be in the order of battle. However, we are at the point where we have an ace in the hole. We've run into another general who wants to fight with us, that is, to serve us. And it just happens to be that Guan Ping is a very powerful general indeed for this level of the game. So 418 soldiers, a strength of 200, and we can just trade out Yang Jin for Guan Ping. So we take Yang Jin's items and give them to Guan Ping. And you notice that Yang Jin is not passing his item to Guan Ping. Guan Ping is taking the items from Yang Jin, because Yang Jin is dead. Or mostly dead, as they might say if you're familiar with the Princess Bride. Now, try this again. Okay, we equip Guan Ping with those items. And we put him up at the front of our battle group because he is pretty powerful and he's got more soldiers than any of our other generals. And so that's a good addition. Now, Guanping was the second resource that I wanted to get out of the Gold Key Cave. And there is one more resource that we would like to get. It's not mandatory, but it would be good to have. And I'm just looking at my overall resources to see what kind of chance we have of getting out of here alive, going after that third resource and getting out of here alive. We've got 10 more tactical points. We're going to have to save all of them for restoratives because I think we've only got one more elixir. So let's take a look and see who could best benefit from that elixir. Looks like Lu Feng is closest to needing it, but Zhang Fei, he's down below 100. That is 100 below his group of soldiers, and he's more powerful than Lu Feng. So we're going to give that elixir, we're going to administer it to Zhang Fei. We'll get more bang from the buck from Zhang Fei than we will from Lu Feng, and we can use our Qi Jin tactics for Lu Feng or anybody else who gets close to being routed. And we are also reduced to the necessity of doing battle math against all of these battle groups that come up against us, just because we are running low on all of our battle resources. Now again, this is my own set of techniques. I share them with you. You can choose to follow them or do something else. And particularly those of you who are mathematicians better understand now the algorithms of the game and the combination of generals. You might be able to do a better job on these attacks than I do. And you'll notice now that even though they're down below 100, the rebel forces are inflicting 4 casualties on us. They used to inflict only 2. But that is because we're at a higher level of the game, and they are going to continue to get stronger and larger as the game goes along. So at this point, you could choose to go back to the nearest inn and not come after this third resource, because it is, after all, only money. But remember, I'm a cheapskate. I like to fight and I like to roll the dice. So hopefully we'll be able to win more with that money than we lost with the extra battles. And right now I'm feeling very lucky because we haven't encountered another large group of warlords, and we're only running into these rebels and bandits. Of course, I'm speaking too soon. I may have jinxed myself because we've still got a way to go to get back to that friendly inn at Fan Shui Guang Fortress. But right now, I'm becoming a little optimistic. Now, this is an unusually large group. And we're probably not going to be able to take all three of these groups down below 100 with our first round of battle, but we'll get close. And a lot closer than I was expecting, actually. And while I am optimistic at this point, I'm not so optimistic that I don't continue to use these targeting rounds to get these forces down below 100. Just a little bit nervous. Okay, we breathe a sigh of relief, even though we're still a few miles away from our potential relief. And of course, it looks like we're going to be right at the nub of our resources by the time we get out of danger. Fortunately, the brigand forces are not that big a deal. Another success, and I cheer myself up by the fact that we're getting more experience points and more gold coins. And we're getting closer and closer to safety. Now, you may remember that here in Fan Shui Guan, we've got an inn, but take a look at our profile and you'll see that none of our group are in danger right now, and we've still got 10 tactical points. So rather than expend my coinage on the inn there, I'm going to head back to our friendly castle. And the reason is, once we are on this side of Fan Shui Guan, we're not in danger of those big groups of warlords, just the same old little warlords that we've run into before. So that's the reason I feel lucky and roll the dice and get back here to home territory. And before I go into the inn to sleep it off, I'm going to say farewell to young Jean. Now, young Jean is, I guess you could call him lying there in the reserve, dead to the world, or almost. We could have revived young Jean, and we've got to talk about this particular, we'll call it an elixir, as we get up here to our friendly neighborhood merchant. And let's take a look at his menu. Well, first of all, let's sell that extra. I thought we had an extra flail. I guess not. So let's take a look at his menu. We'll tell him we're going to buy. And you see, he's got elixirs, and we've talked about those, but look at the other 3 items in this repository. The resurrect elixir will bring a general back to life after he's been routed in battle, and it will bring him back to life with up to 400 soldiers. So it's a very powerful elixir, hence the 100 gold coin cost. And it's always good when you can afford it to carry one of these along with you, because you never know when you're going to get surprise attacked and one of your generals will bite the dust before you can save him. So it's always good to have a resurrect. And now we have sufficient gold coins. Take a look at our money. 2,200 gold coins. So we have sufficient money now to purchase a resurrect. If we had kept Yang Jing in our battle group, we would have had to purchase that resurrect and then use it on him to bring him back to life. If you go to an inn with a routed general, the inn will not help him. Sleeping him off will not help him. You've got to use the resurrect first and then take him to an inn if he isn't fully restored by the time you use the resurrect. In any case, right now, we are going to purchase a resurrect and give it to Ho Hu. And we are going to purchase a steed. Remember when we captured Wan Zhong and we tried to recruit him, and he said, "You might be able to win my services with a particularly good horse." This is what he's talking about, the steed. Remember, Chituma, as great a horse as he is, doesn't qualify. The steed is the only thing that will respond to a warlord's request for a quote-unquote especially good horse. So we're going to be carrying a steed with us as often as we can. And the next item is the gull wing. Now, the gull wing is the closest thing to magic that we have, in addition, of course, to the martial arts tactics that we have. The gull wing will transport your entire battle group from wherever you are to a particular location. And it won't take you anywhere you want to go, but it will always take you to a friendly castle. So we're going to buy a gull wing, and we want to keep these 3 things in the knapsacks of, well, usually I keep them in the knapsack of the acting tactician, just because it makes it easier to deal with. Now, the only other thing that we need that we don't have is elixirs. We are zeroed out on elixirs, and we have enough gold coins right now. Keep in mind that we haven't been to the inn yet, so we don't want to overspend, but we have enough gold coins to fill up the knapsacks of all of our generals. And there are upsides and downsides to doing that. Right now, the upside of filling those knapsacks is better than the downsides. So that's what we're going to do. And you'll notice if you try to put more than 8 items in a knapsack, you'll get this message: Guanping can't carry anymore. So who's going to be carrying that? We'll give it to Lu Feng. And we just continue to buy elixirs. And basically, if you want to do the mathematical calculations, we'll end up with 5 elixirs in the knapsacks of our first 4 generals. And then, of course, we have filled up the Ho Hu's knapsack. He's got 1 space left, I think, Ho Hu does, because he's got those other resources: the resurrect, the steed, the gull wing. Kind of lost my concentration here while I was talking about all those things. I hope you collected all of that information. You can replay the video, of course, to get to that information, or you can just put a nasty comment in the comments section of my YouTube site, and I will respond to you. It can be a question or a nasty comment about how I shouldn't talk so much while I'm playing the game, or whatever you'd like to say. I'm happy to receive it. And we just try to fill up all these knapsacks. And sure enough, we've got all 5 knapsacks filled. And because we went and got that extra treasure chest, and because we had so many fights along the way, we still have quite a bit of money in our treasury, which is a good thing to have. So now we can go back to the inn. We can sleep it off for 5 gold coins. And we are now fully equipped and ready to continue our quest to find and defeat Dong Zhuo. But meanwhile, my voice is just about gone, you might notice. So I'm going to the recorder and save this game, and we'll call an end to video 4. And when next we meet, we'll start our video 5 with Dong Zhuo 3, the quest to defeat Dong Zhuo. Notice we only need 77 more experience points to climb a level, so that's good. All right, I hope you've enjoyed all of those tips. Appreciate your watching, and please like, subscribe, do all those other free things, comment, and we'll see you next time. Happy gaming.